Good morning, wine lovers, humble grape friends, people interested in wine. I'm sitting here with the ineffable Carlos Santos.
Good morning,
Yeah.
everyone.
And today we're talking about Christmas wines, which is pretty interesting. I think we've got slightly different views on what goes well with turkey, lamb, whether you should be cooking fish or, serving oysters or whatever.
Gammon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, but I think it's going to be a fun chat.
Well, Christmas, it's sneaked up on us, huh?
It does. It always
It's
does.
already here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. The time flew. So, Christmas wines is always on the floor. We always see guests, browsing the shop and with a big question: what do I take if I'm a guest at somebody else's house,
Yep.
or what should I buy if I'm hosting
Yes.
Christmas lunch? It's always that thing.
Yeah.
Should we start with the beginning of the party?
Yeah, I mean, just in a nutshell, when I first became really obsessed with wine, and I was having Christmas, I would like to think about my day, as in starting with something bubbles, and then you've got to have a couple of starters, and then you've got to have a couple of whites for the starters, and then you've got to have some reds with the main, whether it's turkey, lamb, or beef, and then you've got to have some, something afterwards. Maybe if you're having cheese, you can sneak in an Amarone or a port, and then after that with a dessert, you can sneak in another dessert wine, and that's a good 3 or 4 hours of entertainment, right?
Only 3 or 4?
Yeah.
So I'm the same. Bubbles. I just can't think of a Christmas lunch if it doesn't start with something bubbly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because sparkling wines, they tend to have more acidity, so they get your mouth watering, they get your appetite going, get you ready for lunch.
Yeah. So what are you were talking about today then? What are you thinking? Champagne or
yes.
where do we go with that?
So there's a little gem here that's also in our Christmas case on our website, which is Gonnet.
Yeah, and this is right next to Salon, which is probably the most famous grow champagne in the world.
Yeah.
It retails for thousands and thousands of pounds a case, and this vineyard is right next door. I would say quality, very, very similar at an absolute fraction of the price.
It is an absolutely fantastic wine. We had Chantal here last month, and the surprise when the guests tried this. This is the Brut Reserve. It's a blend of Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and a drop of Meunier.
Yeah.
All from Les Menis-Roger in the Côte de Blanc. He spent 3 years on the lease. What does that mean? Well, it ages on yeast, and it has the lovely biscuity note to it. It's absolutely corker to start Christmas lunch.
So it's going to be a bit bigger, have a bit more structure.
Yes, and the bubbles, the mousse, it's so velvety. It's really, really, it's a fantastic champagne.
So how many glasses would you recommend, people have on Christmas morning? Is this like while we're busy unwrapping the presents? Or, you need to maintain some focus to get the lunch done, right?
Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't try to prescribe a quantity of glasses. I'll say this.
Yeah.
You can get 6 glasses out of a bottle.
Okay.
Then
6,125 mils.
Yeah, 6,125. So then you do the maths. You might need 2 or 3 bottles if you start unwrapping the presents in the morning.
If
with
it's just you on your own, right?
That's just for the beginning. But there's also, what about if people don't really want to buy champagne? What other options they can have in terms of bubbles? Because we tend to drink Prosecco a lot throughout the year.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to serve Prosecco again on Christmas lunch.
That's true, but there are some really interesting alternatives in France, like all the Cremants, the Bourgogne, the Alsace, the Loire. I mean, I think they've been making them in the Rhone Valley now, right?
They are,
all made in champagne style, all very good quality, probably, as or close to champagne, but just not with the cachet or the name.
Exactly, or the price tag.
Yeah, absolutely.
You touched on an absolute corker that we've got, which is the Cremant de Bourgogne.
Yeah, the Cremant de Bourgogne.
From André Bonhomme.
André Bonhomme, first ever biodynamic producer in France. He pulled the 2 villages together, Vier and Classet, to create one appellation so they could market better. Makes tiny quantities. I don't think he makes more than a couple of thousand of the sparkling.
No,
Yeah.
it's a very small production.
And when I first chatted to him 10 years ago, he was like, "Oh, these wines are they just for me and my family." So I think he gives us 300 or 400, yeah, and we can't
Yeah.
get any more. And that's it.
Yeah. It's a very small location, and the wine is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a Blanc de Blanc,
Yeah.
100% Chardonnay. It's absolutely fantastic. Delivers us the same value for money that a champagne would, but without having the price tag. It's a little bit more accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so now we're sipping on our champagne. We might be having a few smoked salmon blinis or something else, you know. Or maybe someone's already scoffing their advent calendar chocolates, but you know that's all right.
It's fine.
You know,
it's Christmas Day, you know. It's fine.
Getting ready, and that, you know, like for me, starters, if I can on Christmas Day, I like to have some smoked salmon or some gravlax or and oysters as well if you can. Maybe 2 different starters. And the reason I like to have 2 starters is so I can try 2 different wines.
Yeah.
2 different white wines.
Yeah.
So I personally, I know it's very cliche, but I love a Chablis. And Chablis in terms of Burgundy, this guy, Garnier, the Premier Cru Mormont is absolutely amazing. If you have that with your oysters, you know, it's going to go really nicely. Apparently, because Chablis used to be a fossilized seabed millions of years ago, and there's millions of crustaceans and oysters and seashells in the soil, that's why it goes well with oysters. Do you think there's any truth to that?
There is. I was actually going to say, interesting enough, this particular Chablis, it has the smell of oyster shells.
Okay.
When you open the wine, it's very, very interesting.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And what about you? So I'm doing oysters and Chablis. What do you fancy?
Well, normally it's a smoked salmon
Smoked
or
salmon.
some gravlax to start. When it comes to white wine, I'm a big Riesling lover.
Okay.
I love Riesling. So I chose this.
And you just like it because, you know, the bottles are so much taller, right?
Absolutely. It gives you the impression there's more wine in there.
Okay.
Another little gem from one of our hero producers, Von Winning, in Pfalz in Germany. They specialize in Rieslings, although the Chardonnays and Pinots are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But the specialty is Riesling. This wine came from a tiny parcel called Paradiesgarten.
Yep.
Garden of Paradise, very romantic.
I actually went there in 2018.
Oh, you did?
And we had a little picnic. They've got like a little table out there, and you can look down across the village, and there's a statue of Mary, like right there, quite a big one. And then the vineyard going up into the hills like that. It's absolutely stunning. Paradiesgarten, the Paradise Garden.
Yeah,
I can see why they call it that.
Beautiful, yes. And this wine is absolutely fantastic. It's a hugely popular wine at Humble Grape. I know that whenever we say Riesling, people think, oh, it's going to be
petrol,
sweet.
kerosene,
And it will have sweetness.
Yeah.
Not this guy.
No.
This is bone dry, mineral, fresh. If you're serving any fish starters, this is fantastic. They are now turning biodynamic.
Yeah.
And this is traditional German winemaking.
Yeah.
It's fermented in very old barrels and then aged in very old barrels. So the wine has a nice texture to it.
Yeah, and what I find with Von Winning especially is the quality is so off the charts.
Yes.
And it's absolutely exceptional. I mean, you'd really struggle to get wines at this quality to price ratio anywhere else in the world.
Absolutely. It is fantastic. And actually, Von Winning, one of their Rieslings is the most popular with our B2B customers, the restaurants that we sell wines for.
Yeah. Some of especially the Asian restaurants. Yeah,
absolutely, because it pairs really well with spicy food, Indian food. It pairs really well because of the acidity and the fruitiness.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, so now we move to the main course.
We've had oysters and smoked salmon. Or gravlax. Do you say gravlax or gravlax?
Gravlax, I think.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, we'll have to put some comments down at the bottom and tell us how to pronounce it. So moving on. So now, what is your traditional Christmas? We've got an option between turkey, very very traditional in the UK, goose, which is kind of a bit more old school, also UK. Some people do a gammon as well. just so that you can have something on the side in case there's not enough turkey. I mean, how does that happen? What kind of turkeys are you guys buying? And then I've also had a roast beef and a roast lamb.
Wow.
On Christmas, which is quite nice sometimes if you want to do something slightly different.
Yes.
But regardless, I think something needs to be roasted. I know that in Eastern Europe, in Poland and places like that, they're very big on huge fish dishes. So that's their traditional kind of Christmas Day lunch would be fish. Yeah. But in England and in South Africa, I don't know where you come from. What's traditional in Brazil for Christmas Day?
So traditionally, my Christmas here, it starts on the Eve. Okay. Christmas Eve, that's how we celebrate in Brazil. And it is gammon.
Gammon, yeah.
Gammon. So I get to have 2 Christmas dinners.
Yeah.
One on the Eve and then one on Christmas Day.
Okay, brilliant.
So it's always gammon and turkey. For the gammon, I chose here something that's absolutely special. It's a Barolo from Poderi Ruggeri Corsini, the producer, in Piedmont. Met Nicola a couple of times.
Fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The wine is sustainable. If you pick up the bottle, you can see. Normally, Barolo comes in those huge, heavy bottles. And Nicola is very focused on sustainability. He recycles all the water that he uses, has solar panels everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
and he uses very light bottles.
It's half the weight of a normal bottle. And not because there's less wine in it. It's because the glass is lighter.
Absolutely. So Barolos are made from Nebbiolo. So this is 100% Nebbiolo.
The Pinot Noir of Italy, right?
Kind. It's a Pinot Noir with a punch.
Pinot Noir with a punch.
Because these boys tend to pack quite a bit, a bite of tannins and a bit of alcohol. And this Barolo was aged for 36 months, 3 years, before we could buy it from Nicola.
Exceptional. And when I taste this, I don't feel the oak so much. And there's 2 vineyards. The one is Bussia, which is the one we have here. And the other one, what's the name of the
San Pietro.
San Pietro. Bussia has a bit more punch. The San Pietro is a bit more elegant. But both of these vineyards are less than a hectare.
They are very small.
Tiny production, 0.78 and 0.8 something. Yeah. These vineyards, tiny production, real artisan production. We've been selling this Barolo for about 7 or 8 years at Humble Grape, and it's absolutely phenomenal.
It is. And talking about size of vineyards, just to give our listeners a perspective, 0.7, 0.8 hectares. That's smaller than Trafalgar Square.
Yeah, smaller. And how many bottles do you think they can make out of something like
that? Oh, it's tiny. It's very tiny. It's vintage dependent. Babusia, I think he produces 250 bottles maybe.
Wow.
On a good vintage.
Wow.
Because Busia is the smaller.
Yeah.
It's 0.7.
That's phenomenal. So if someone buys one of these, it's not like, I mean, just to put that into context, Chateau Margaux make 25,000 cases. 25 times 12, right? That's the number of bottles.
Yes.
25,000 times 12, and these guys are making between 200 and 400 bottles a year.
Depending on the vintage, yeah.
And it's absolutely phenomenal. It should be £1,000 a bottle, but it's not.
Yeah.
You know,
it's absolutely ridiculous. Phenomenal. Yeah. The reason why I chose
now that I know this, I'm actually going to buy this or keep it in my cellar. No one else can have it.
You will age very well because it's a very structured wine.
Yeah.
And the reason why I chose Busia is because Busia has a particularly loved note of cherry, maraschino cherry. So it's a quite bright, fruity, fruit forward wine. How about you? How about your Christmas lunch main course?
So, I've been doing. I think that would go very nice with goose as well because it's a bit bigger. But for me, with main course turkey, it's usually I would go with the Burgundy. And last Christmas I had the Dutton Goldfield. It's the Cherry Ridge or no, that's the
Emerald Ridge.
The Emerald Ridge, yeah, which is phenomenal. And this Christmas I'm going to go with the Burgundy. But I'm also going to pour side by side something a little bit more fruit forward is Saint Joseph. So Syrah, Pinot Noir. This one is going to be a little bit more fruity, a bit more approachable, and this one is just going to be a bit more acidic, a bit more kind of cherry, very elegant, very very fine. Tell us a bit more about the Chaury Le Brun. That's an interesting kind of appellation.
It is. So the vineyard from Shohed is actually not far from the Bonn city,
Yeah.
in the slightly
So
northern
in
part
this,
of Burgundy.
yeah.
Yeah, where Bonn is quite famous. That's where all the negociants and the big houses are based.
Yeah, Cote de Beaune.
Yeah, in the Côte de Beaune, exactly. Um, it is a tiny vineyard. It's about 1.1 hectare.
Mm-hmm.
That's in there. Alice owns, I think, 2/3 of it.
Okay.
Because you know that in Burgundy everything is small. The vineyards are always split between 2, 3 different producers. The Hion family has been there since 1859.
Right.
Yeah, so they've been there for a very long time. Now Alice runs the show. This beautiful Pinot Noir was aged in barrels for 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just about enough, toast vanilla to frame the fruit.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, beautiful notes of cherry, strawberry. Yeah, it's very, very elegant.
Yeah, and this is a Northern Rhone Saint Joseph, so it's in the south of the Northern Rhone,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got you've got Côte Rôtie and Hermitage a bit further north, very very high end wines, and then you've got the Saint Joseph, which is a bit more approachable, a bit more elegant. I discovered this wine 4 years ago in a wine fair in Germany, and it struck me as being a more modern interpretation of Saint Joseph, which I like, because customers these days want to have something that's approachable and easy drinking earlier on rather than waiting forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about this one. I mean, we've got their Côte Rôtie as well, but I really love this wine.
The Saint Joseph. You know that this winery, Domaine de Boisset, they've been there since the French Revolution.
Wow. They were hiding all their wine under the ground, right? And all that kind of stuff.
They used to be a bigger domain.
Yeah.
But then it belonged to a French nobleman.
Yeah.
Then during the French Revolution, he fled with his family to England.
Yeah.
Because all of their heads were rolling.
Yep.
And then the government took the vineyard and split between the two tenants.
Nice.
And the Boisset was one of the tenants.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, we met him a few months ago when he was in the country, and you nailed it when you said that this wine is much more modern and approachable, because he says that he deals with Syrah he's very delicate when he deals with Syrah.
Yeah.
Because Syrah can also be quite tannic.
Yeah.
And the wine is extremely well balanced. You've got a little bit of tannins, the fruit. You've got a little bit of oak, lovely notes of blueberry, and the thing that Syrah lovers absolutely look for on a Syrah, the note of white pepper.
Yes, that's fantastic. Okay, so we've worked our way through Turkey and maybe a couple of pigs in blanket. So I suppose if you had some Barolo, you could
some potatoes, roast potatoes,
some of those the little ground green things, the Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, no thanks. No thanks.
What wine would you pair with the Brussels sprout? None, because you wouldn't serve them.
I would just drink the wine and leave the sprouts on the corner.
Okay, brilliant. So we've had some turkey, some stuffing. We've had some beautiful wines with that. I mean, I would also drink the Barolo with the turkey. And now we're moving on to post turkey. We're going to take a little pause, maybe sit in the dining room. Finish off a nice glass of red, think about life, the universe, and everything. And then we might come back. And are we going to do dessert first, or are we going to do cheese first? And do we do cheese for a Christmas lunch?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
In my place is an absolute.
Okay.
We normally do Christmas pudding, and then we move on to cheeses. Okay. Because I prefer to just skip through the dessert and focus on the cheeses and enjoy the cheeses with a nice bottle of something.
Okay, the Christmas pudding, does it come with custard? Does it come with its
own? No, brandy sauce.
Brandy sauce, okay.
Brandy butter, brandy sauce.
And what would you recommend we drink with that Christmas pudding? Like a port or something with the cheese, or?
It could be a port.
Yeah.
It could also be, if you don't really want to drink anything sweet with that, what would go really well with it is an Amarone style wine.
Yes, like a Ripasso or something like
that. Yeah, Ripasso and Amarone, because those wines also have the flavors and aromas of a Christmas pudding.
Yeah, okay, brilliant.
So they pair quite well.
So yeah, we could just reach back, into our shelf over here, and I can grab a bottle of Amarone. And you can have that with your cheese dish. Fantastic. This one's quite punchy. I love it.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we skipped through the the dessert. Now we're hitting the cheese. Tell us about
Oh.
your cheese courses and like what wines are we having there?
Cheeses.
Mm.
Okay, so that's normally when the bottle of port comes out,
Okay.
because port it's very bold, strong, quite pungent. So if you have cheeses like Epoisse de Bourgogne or a blue cheese on the board,
Mm.
port will just sail with
Sell
that.
through it. Whereas
Sail
with the
through.
lighter kind of semi-sweet, the blue cheese would kill it. Right?
Yes, you will. You will.
Yeah.
You could also, if you still have some white wine left from the starters,
Mm-hmm.
why would you? But if you do,
Mm-hmm.
you can do Chablis or this Riesling if you have goat's cheese on the plate.
Yeah.
Those
So
wines will go really well.
Do have the discipline to put the wine back in the fridge, Don't
Yeah.
leave a bottle so it's all lukewarm when you're trying to tackle your cheese later. Only beginners would do that.
Absolutely. Keep it on ice or put back in the fridge,
Yeah.
Because when the cheese comes out, you can start again with a white wine
Mm-hmm.
and then move to a port, a nice tawny port,
Nice.
a vintage port. We work with Quinta do Noval.
Yeah.
We are only 2016 vintage,
Fantastic.
late bottle vintage port. Oh my God, it is absolutely phenomenal. And it pairs really well with cheeses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to Christmas. Can't wait. I hope people have managed to pick up a few tips. If you need any help, I'm sure Carlos will be able to guide you in the right direction.
Absolutely. just reach us out via
Yeah,
email on our website and we'll help you.
last thing, don't run out of wine on Christmas Day. That's also a junior player's error.
That is a sin.
It's a cardinal
That's a
sin.
sin. You cannot run out of wine on Christmas Day. Absolutely not.
Thank you, Carlos. Good to
Thank
see
you
you
very
again.
much. Nice to see
Thank
you,
you very
James.
much.
Guys,
Cheers.
lovely to see you, and until the next podcast.
Okay, cheers.